Hey there, ready to unlock some serious productivity power?
Ooh, I like where this is going.
Right. We're diving deep today into the world of Tam Kaur.
She's that content creator who's just absolutely crushing it.
Exactly. Multiple income streams, running her own business, graduated with first-class honors.
All while living that soft girl life. I mean, come on.
It's unbelievable. We're breaking down her YouTube video.
How to be productive? It's packed with good stuff.
Discipline, healthy habits, motivation, balance. She covers it all. Our mission today is to pull out those golden nuggets of wisdom
Those practical tips and tricks.
that you can actually use,
Right.
whether you're a student, an entrepreneur.
Or honestly, just anyone who wants to conquer their to-do list. Without burning out, of course.
Right. And one of the first things that jumped out at me was her take on morning routines. We've all heard about how important they are.
Yeah, gotta have that productive morning.
But Cam flips the script a bit. She's all about creating a slow morning routine.
Interesting. What does that even look like?
Instead of jumping right into work mode, she spends that first hour after waking up doing things she actually enjoys.
She even talks about romanticizing life, like taking the time to savor those small moments, like making her matcha latte just right.
I love that. I used to think I had to squeeze every ounce of productivity out of my morning.
Oh, I've been there, up at the crack of dawn, already stressed.
But Tam's approach makes so much sense. You start your day feeling good.
And it's way easier to focus and actually get things done.
Exactly. There's even actual science to back it up.
Oh, tell me more about that. I love a good science connection.
Well, when you start your day with positive reinforcement, you're basically training your brain to connect waking up early with something pleasant.
It's like setting yourself up for a good mood right from the start.
Exactly. And speaking of starting the day on the right foot, Tam's a huge believer in exercise. She hits the gym every other morning.
But it's not about crazy workouts or anything. It's about moving her body in a way that feels good and focusing on her mental health.
That's so important. She even talks about how exercise helps her think more clearly. There's got to be some science behind that, right?
Absolutely. When you exercise, your brain releases all these feel-good chemicals like endorphins and dopamine. And those not only boost your mood, but they also help you focus better and give you more energy.
It's like a natural energy drink.
The best kind.
Okay, so we've got the slow morning routine and exercise down. What's next in Tam's productivity puzzle?
This is the part I always struggle with.
Well, Tam's a firm believer that you can't outwork a bad diet. Nutrition plays a huge role in her approach.
Makes sense. You are what you eat, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
She's all about that low-sugar, high-fiber lifestyle, especially for breakfast. And she makes it look so good. Her protein fruit smoothies and matcha lattes. I'm sold.
It's about making healthy choices enjoyable. That's how you stick with them.
Right. And there's a really cool connection between the food you eat and how well you think.
Wait, really?
Yeah. Have you ever noticed how sluggish you feel after a super sugary meal?
Ugh, yes. It's like a food coma hits me.
Well, that's because high-sugar foods can cause those dreaded energy crashes and kill your productivity.
So what's the alternative?
A balanced diet packed with fiber and protein. It gives your brain the fuel it needs to focus and be its best.
It's like giving your brain the premium stuff, not the cheap gas.
Exactly. And get this, what you eat can even affect your mood, your ability to focus, and how your brain works in general.
Wow, I had no idea food was that powerful. So we've covered the foundation: slow morning routine, exercise, and good nutrition. But how does Tam actually structure her day to get the most done?
That's where time management strategies come in. She's all about time blocking and time restriction.
Okay, break those down for me, sure.
Time blocking is where you schedule specific blocks of time for different tasks.
Ah, so instead of just saying, I'll work on this today, you actually put it in your calendar.
Precisely. Tam uses a color-coded Apple calendar to plan her whole week. Everything from work projects to errands to hanging out with friends.
Wow, that's organized. What about time restriction?
It's similar to setting deadlines, but it's more about creating a sense of urgency. So instead of saying, I'm going to pack orders today, she might say, I have 45 minutes to pack these orders and get to the post office.
So it's like a mini challenge. I like it.
Exactly. It's surprisingly effective at beating procrastination and staying focused.
So you don't get lost down some internet rabbit hole.
You know it. And Tam takes it a step further by trying to do a little bit of each task every day.
Why is that? Seems like it would break up your flow.
It's all about preventing boredom and staying on track. By doing smaller chunks of each task throughout the week, she avoids feeling overwhelmed and stuck.
That makes sense. When I have a huge task looming over me, I'm way more likely to procrastinate.
Right.
Breaking it down into smaller pieces makes it seem much less scary.
Exactly. And having that organized schedule, those time blocks already in place, can really reduce mental clutter. You don't waste energy trying to decide what to do next. You just follow the plan.
It's like having a personal assistant in your calendar. Frees up your brain to actually focus on the work. Back again. We were just talking about all Tam's awesome time management strategies, but,
It's one thing to have a plan.
Right. But even with the best systems sometimes.
You just hit a wall.
Exactly. So how does she deal with those moments?
When motivation dips and procrastination creeps in, well, her take on motivation actually surprised me.
Really?
She calls it fleeting.
Like it doesn't last.
Yeah, unsustainable in the long run. Discipline, she says, is the real key to getting things done consistently.
Oh, that's interesting. We're always told to find our motivation.
Right. But motivation comes and goes.
It's fickle.
Oh, exactly.
Yeah.
Discipline, though, you build that over time. It's about practice.
And consistency.
Yep. She makes a great point about starting small.
Like, don't try to change everything at once.
Yeah, if you want to be a morning person, don't go from night owl to up at 5 a.m. overnight.
Start slow.
Exactly. Maybe wake up 15 minutes earlier each day, slowly work your way up.
Ease into it.
It's all about proving to yourself you can stick to those commitments.
Even when it's tough.
And those small wins, they build on each other, give you momentum.
That spills over into other areas.
Like a positive feedback loop,
Success builds success. I like that. Now, something else Tam talks about that resonated with me is dealing with fear of failure.
Oh, that's a big one.
We've all been there.
Absolutely. That feeling of, what if I mess up?
Or what if I'm not good enough?
Totally paralyzing. So how does Tam suggest navigating that?
Journaling. She's a huge fan.
Makes sense.
She says, get curious about those fears.
Don't just avoid them.
Yeah, really examine them, figure out where they're coming from. Ask yourself, what's the worst that could happen?
What's the best that could happen?
And then make a plan. Address those possibilities.
So it's about facing the fear.
Head on. And you know what? Often when you break it down like that.
It's not as scary as it seems.
Exactly. Like that saying, we suffer more in imagination than in reality.
Ooh, I like that. So true, though. I've definitely let fear hold me back from doing things I really wanted to do.
It happens. But by acknowledging the fear, taking steps to address it,
Even if it's just through journaling.
yeah, you start to reclaim your power.
And move forward with more confidence.
That's the key. Speaking of feeling empowered, Tam also talks a lot about separating work and environment.
Makes sense. I know if I work in the same spot all day, I get distracted way easier.
It's like your brain needs a refresh.
Exactly.
Tam suggests switching locations throughout the day.
To set boundaries and avoid boredom.
Yeah. Like if she has a 12-hour study session planned,
Wow, that's intense.
she might break it up, Morning at home, afternoon at a cafe, then evening at the library.
I like that. It ties back into her time blocking strategy, too.
Right. Clear boundaries, time constraints for each block.
It's all connected. And, we've talked about all these strategies, but even with the best systems,
Sometimes you just need a break.
absolutely. Tam emphasizes taking care of your mental health, even taking a full day off each week.
To recharge.
Yes.
Yes.
It's so refreshing to hear someone say that, We're always told to hustle, to be productive.
But Tam reminds us that real productivity,
It's about finding a sustainable pace.
one that lets you thrive, not just survive.
Exactly. Rest and rejuvenation are key. And she doesn't just mean taking a nap.
Oh no, she means planning fun activities, things to look forward to.
There's rewards. It makes those tough tasks seem less daunting.
And it keeps you motivated.
So we've talked about discipline, overcoming fear, changing your environment, prioritizing rest.
It's a lot. But one thing that keeps popping up is journaling.
It really is a core part of her system.
She uses it for everything. Accountability, reflection, self-discovery.
Like having a conversation with yourself.
Exactly. Checking in on your progress, figuring out what needs to change.
And by writing it down,
You're making a commitment.
it's like having an accountability partner, but it's just you and your journal.
And that self-awareness, it's so important for growth.
Before we move on, I want to point something else out about Tam's approach.
What's that?
It's not just about being productive.
There's more to it.
It's about finding joy in the process.
Yeah.
She's not just grinding through her to-do list
She's choosing to find moments of pleasure.
throughout the day.
That's a great point. It makes productivity feel less like a chore and more like...
A way of life. And we're back for our final deep dive into Tam Kaur's productivity secrets.
We've covered so much already.
I know. Morning routines, mindset shifts, time management, self-care.
It's inspiring how she puts it all together, you know?
Creates this life that's productive, but still so fulfilling. And that's what I want to focus on now, her concept of a life system.
More than just a few hacks.
Right. It's about designing a framework that supports your whole life, your well-being, your goals.
Creating a life that matches your values, and then using systems to help you get there.
I love that. And she breaks it down into some key components.
Like what?
First up, her weekly calendar ritual. Non-negotiable, she says.
That time blocking, color coding in action.
Yep. She maps out her entire week. Work, appointments, social stuff, even self-care.
It's like having a roadmap.
Right. You know exactly what needs to get done and when.
No more wasting mental energy figuring out what to do next.
And it helps you prioritize. Make sure you're spending time on what matters most.
Speaking of saving time and energy, Tam's a big fan of automation and outsourcing.
Oh, I love this.
She talks about using a meal kit delivery service.
Genius. No more stressing about meal planning and grocery shopping.
Exactly. Delegate those things you don't enjoy or that someone else can do better.
Like, why spend hours meal prepping when you could be working on your passion project?
Or spending time with your loved ones.
It's about choosing how you spend your time. And Tam also schedules time for things that bring her joy.
Every evening and Saturdays.
Time with friends, hobbies, try new restaurants, anything that recharges her.
Because productivity isn't just about work.
Right. It's about living a life that feels good and has meaning.
And then Sundays, those are her reset days.
Getting ready for the week ahead.
Laundry, meal prepping, planning, outfits, all that good stuff.
So she can start the week feeling calm and organized.
Love that. And to stay on track with everything, she uses a habit tracker.
I'm a big fan of those.
Me too. They're so simple, but they work.
Tam tracks everything from vitamins and journaling to exercise and water intake.
Turns those healthy habits into automatic behaviors.
And that's what's so amazing about Tam's whole life system. It's intentional.
She's not just going through the motions.
She's actively designing a life that works for her.
And supports her values and goals.
And her well-being. What's not to love? One thing I really appreciate is that it's not about being perfectly productive.
That's a relief. No one's perfect.
Exactly. She talks about staying in her feminine energy.
Intriguing.
Honoring your natural rhythms, your intuition, instead of forcing yourself into that rigid hustle mode.
Working smarter, not harder.
Finding a flow that feels good, sustainable, and enjoyable. I think that's a great takeaway.
Me too. Productivity isn't about punishment. It's about creating a life you love.
A life that's both productive and fulfilling. So as we wrap up our deep dive, I want to leave you with a question.
Ooh, I like where this is going.
What does your ideal life system look like? What are your values, your goals? What systems would help you create a life that feels both productive and truly aligned with who you are?
That's a great question to ponder. It's not about copying Tam exactly.
Right. It's about finding what works for you.
Experimenting, adjusting, evolving as you go.
Your life system is a living thing, just like you.
So go out there, create a life that lights you up.
A life that feels both productive and deeply fulfilling. Thanks for joining us, and until next time, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep thriving.